Picture this. The year is 1848 and you've been invited to a Christmas ball at Windsor Castle. You walk in and the first thing that you see is a beautifully decorated tree. Its branches are adorned with a multitude of delicious sweets like gingerbread, marzipan, and paper cones filled with nuts. Colorful baubles and spun glass ornaments reflect the light of twinkling candles. You spot some children's toys as well. Paper jumping jacks, lead soldiers, and girls' dolls make up a part of the ornaments. No doubt gifts for the children of the royal family. And what's more, exotic oranges fill the air with a citrus aroma that one could only dream of at this time. At the very top, a beautiful angel sits upon the tree, reminding us of the story of the first Christmas. So this must undoubtedly be the Victorian Christmas tree. And that would all be great if I didn't just make it up. No, but seriously, Victorian Christmas trees conjure up this image of a warm, historical, vintage type of Christmas that a lot of people really yearn for. And you might have noticed from my voice, but I am sick again. So I decided what's not better to do than to sit down and make some cozy Victorian crafts and decorate a Christmas tree. I already have a Christmas tree up here, and it is kind of Victorian, vintage, retro inspired, but I wanted to make like a purely Victorian Christmas tree. So that's what I'm going to do today. You can follow along. These are actually really simple. A lot of Victorian ornaments were handmade at the time, apart from some of the glass baubles, but those didn't come until much later, as I understand it. So a lot of the decorations for Victorian Christmas trees were handmade. And I do have a second tree that I'm going to use for this. It's standing over there. But yeah, so let's get down to business and start with the first Victorian craft, which are tree cones. We'll be needing thicker scrapbooking or craft paper. I have a bunch here. And of course we'll need the vintage images themselves. I just compiled these from Pinterest and had them printed out at a shop nearby. You will also need some chenille pipe cleaners and the shiny variety too. I also have some crepe paper and this shiny netting, as well as lots of random bits and pieces from previous craft projects. I have the pictures I want to use cut out already, as well as the quarter circle cone shapes themselves. I personally recommend decorating the cone while it's flat and then bending it to shape afterwards. I think it's easier that way. So yeah, I'm just coming up with the decorations as I go along. There's really no wrong way to do this. I've seen some people make these in like a shabby chic aesthetic. You can make them pastel or even gothic. It's really up to you. Now that our cones are fully decorated and dried, it's time to glue them into shape with hot glue and add a handle. I used some more craft paper strips for that. And with that, our Victorian treat cones are ready for their treats. The second craft on the list is in the same vein as the first, except these are just paper ornaments. We'll need all of the same materials, and once again, I'm cutting out the pictures first. Just look at this jester cat, isn't he the cutest? For these adorable angels, I took inspiration from this picture right here and started by cutting the white crepe paper into strips. and glued it into a circular disc. And I'm also making the star out of gold pipe cleaners. After that is done, I just glued all the pieces together and added a loop. And there we have it. So simple, but so beautiful. Moving on to the cat, I was inspired by these types of ornaments. I made the base out of a red pipe cleaner first, attached the cat to it, and I also decided to add this tiny brass bell to his collar for an extra bit of whimsy. To cover up the hot glue, I use a sequin. Didn't he turn out just darling? The third Victorian craft is probably my favorite of the bunch. We're going to be making gilded walnuts. You will need some walnuts, of course, and these were originally covered in gold leaf. However, I couldn't find any in my area, so gold spray paint will have to do. You'll also need some ribbon or twine and liquid glue. My walnuts came out a little wonky. They refused to break along the seam, but the pieces fit back together just fine. To make sure the loop would fit with the seam closed, I had to trim back some of the shell, but later on I realized that most walnuts have a natural opening in the bottom and that this was kind of pointless. You live, you learn, I suppose. Here I'm writing out a little holiday note to hide inside the empty shell. And with that, I'm adding a few dabs of glue to seal the two halves together. Just enough that they stay put and are easy to break apart on Christmas Day. You could really put anything in the walnuts. I just put some peppermint candy and a brass frog figurine in the others. These gilded walnuts look absolutely magical, like something straight out of a Christmas fairy tale. I think if I was a child, I would be so impatient to crack these open and find the hidden gifts inside. Our fourth decoration is probably the simplest and you may or may not have made before. Dried orange slice ornaments. Yes, these are a staple of so many homes and are probably the easiest thing to make. All you need are some dried slices and some string to hang them from. I only have a couple here because I used the other ones I had to make garlands and decorations in other parts of my room, but I think you get the idea. And for our last Victorian Christmas decoration, we'll be making a beaded garland. It's as straightforward as it sounds. All you need is some string, in my case fishing line, and beads. I have a bunch of various beads in my stash that I decided to finally put to good use. Now, in the references I used for this video, I did mostly see paper chain garlands on Victorian trees, but I did see glimpses of beaded garlands here and there, and they were mentioned a couple of times. So I'm not entirely sure how accurate they are, but I still think they look really beautiful. I fixed the end of the fishing line so the beads wouldn't slide, and our garland is complete. The whole video ended up being a tad rushed. I was really busy with work before the winter holidays, and I also had a trip planned the week right after I filmed this, so I apologize if the tree looks a bit sad. I do hope to decorate it some more when I have free time and make a tree topper as well. The beaded garland unfortunately ended up being too short to go all around the tree, so I think I'll have to lengthen it at some point. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I just want to say thank you for watching.